going to show you how you can get faster using the opponent laps, and this applies to Formula 1 2020 and 2019 and also ACC. So this is how you could use my telemetry tool and the opponent laps to get faster. And so I'm going to show you how to get the opponent laps and then how to do some quick analysis on the data, and how that helps you to get faster, a little bit faster than just driving around blindly. So of course, first to start, you have to install my telemetry tool, have it working with the games, and when you have that, then first thing you need to do in my tools is you go to settings, general settings, and here's the area where you have to adjust which opponent laps to save. So in ACC and also in Formula 1 2020 and 2019, you click all. So that means that all opponent laps will be saved. So if you try 20 laps and there is 20 other cars, that means there is 400 laps of data which gets saved. So you might want to sort of check that you maybe delete some of the data, or you might actually fill your disk quite quickly. But that's the thing you do. You click here the all, so that means all laps will be saved. Everything else is, you can use whatever settings you like, but this is the key thing. This way the tool will save the opponent laps, and they will be saved in the opponent laps directory under where you've installed this telemetry tool. So just save and close, and then you drive around. And this is what I've done with Formula 1 2020, just with Melbourne. So I start a normal race, but I put the opponent level to 110. If you are new to the telemetry and racing, you might put it to 50 or whatever you think is the level you want to achieve. But I put the aim a bit higher, so it's 110 level for the AI. And so I draw 5 laps, so I get the reference lap, and that is when you revent the laps, they will be saved in the opponent directory. But what you can do now with the tool is you go to File, when you're after the race, and just open opponent file as a reference. And you can see that I have 2 laps here. So this is Alfa Romeo, and then one for Mercedes, which is the fastest car this year. So I'm opening the first Alfa Romeo, so you can see that there's maybe a bit over 1 second slower. So that's a nice target to first reach. So I'm just opening that as a reference lap, and you can see now we have the blue lap here is the Alfa Romeo, which is sort of the initial target for me. So then I started driving in the carrier mode in Formula 1 2020, and just first I did some just easy runs and just testing, and this is the first lap actually I got was with the Alfa Romeo, just driving easily around. So you can see that I'm actually about 8 seconds slower than the other Alfa Romeo on this. I wasn't pushing, just driving and just seeing around. So you can see already now there are some areas here very clear. There should be a straight line if I'm just losing time constantly or at the same speed to the other cars. But you can see that here's a huge drop. I'm losing here almost 2 seconds on the turns. If I click, you see turns 3 and 4. Same here. This is the turns, I think. Let's see which turns they are. So we can see they are here. So 9 and 10, where I'm losing also a lot of time. And then just losing constantly time all the time. Of course, if you're not pushing and just driving around, you will be losing a lot of time. But this gives you an idea that these are 3 areas where I should focus. And then we can just look into why did I lose so much time here. So I'm zooming in, and you can see I'm braking very early, much earlier here. The AI, of course, AI is using ABS or the braking non-locking brakes on the level 1, so they can brake a little bit differently than you, but that's fine. So then you can see that the AI is using full throttle. I'm just doing a little bit, trying to throttle here and there. Gearing is there's lots of things you can see from here, but the overall thing is that you can see I'm losing all the time, a lot of time here. So that gives you an idea that if I'm looking at, like, for example here, you can always see that I'm always braking a little bit too early, everything. So that's just like first thing you have to know that, okay, if you brake very early, you will lose a lot of time. Of course, if you brake too late, then you lose even more time because you will be overshoot the corner and everything will go bad. So then I started thinking, okay, let's start focusing on the braking. And then some of these areas you can see there's big dips, and that's the thing. Next thing I think on my team. So I just wanted to see the new my team option, and in the practice just trying to focus a little bit on those areas where I was losing time. So now you can see, of course, in my team the car is not, the engine is not as fast as in the racing, or if you take just the one race in Formula 1 2020. But you can see I was able to drop down from the almost 9 seconds to a bit below 5 seconds per lap, which is of course a lot. But there, as you can see, the curve is not anymore that bad. I'm just still, if you are looking like here, the turns 3 to 4, you can still, I'm still braking early. I'm not still using the throttle as much here, but the curve is getting better. So this is, gives me an idea. Now you can see that even though if it's a straight line, also here is an area where I might want to sort of look into a little bit, and then we can see a little bit, dive in again, and you can see that I'm braking early. That's what happens quite often, and still when you are not confident with the car, not exactly know what happens, braking early, letting off brake, braking more, and you can see the AI is already, when I'm still a little bit trying to throttle, the AI is already on a full throttle, and you can see that I'm going, actually here it's interesting is that the AI goes to second gear and when I'm on the third gear. So there's lots of things you can learn that, okay, how the AI uses the track, and that's also this kind of target for this. And this is very easy, you don't have to get the ghost laps yet from others, but this is the sort of things you can try to look at, see how you're using the car and the controls to try to survive the things. And of course you might want to try to have the same gears as the AI is using, because that's sort of the reference you do. So I was quite happy with this, only losing 5 seconds to Alfa Romeo on the lap. So and then I started to Alfa Romeo in the real, or in the carrier mode, just seeing how I can do, and I can still take down this time. So I'm not anymore, now I'm losing some 3.5 seconds to the Alfa Romeo in the Grand Prix mode. And you can see I'm already here, I'm actually gaining time a little bit. But again, my bad area is the turns 3 and 4, where I'm still here. You can see I'm just struggling. I'm losing 1 second from the start of the turn 3. Let's zoom in so you can see and actually what I'm doing with the zoom, I'm clicking primary mouse button and then the secondary mouse button here, and it zooms into that place. But you can see I'm still braking early, but now I'm even trying to get the full throttle here, and it's getting there. It's getting there on this practice mode with the Alfa Romeo. So it's getting there, and not yet fully reaching the levels of the other cars. But of course the target is to try to beat the top guys. So I'm actually now start comparing to the reference lap of Mercedes, which was 121.5 the speed. So it's much faster. Again, you can see with my practice on Alfa Romeo, I'm still using, here I'm losing again now almost 5 seconds, and still almost here gaining a little bit time into turn 3, but then losing time 3 and 4, and then losing a lot of time at the last turns of the lap. So then I said, okay, let's take Mercedes and go time trial and see. Okay, I first took Alfa Romeo on the time trial just to see how fast I could. And you can see that I'm actually losing about 4 seconds here to the Mercedes in Australia on the time. But here it's getting, it's a few braking areas where I'm clearly losing. You can see almost always at the braking areas I'm losing time, but then on the straights I'm getting the quite nice speed, but still losing always, except the last turns I'm still losing here a lot of time. You can see 2.1 seconds to 3.5, so 1.5 seconds I'm losing to the Mercedes in time trial, which is quite interesting. So then this is areas I knew I would need to focus. So then I was focusing on turning later, braking later. Like you can see here, I'm still braking too early, and then trying to be on the throttle much earlier in the turns. Also trying to get the same gearing, like you can see here, which is quite interesting in Australia. On the turn 3 and 4, the AI actually is going to second gear just at the apex of the turn 3, and then keeping that, then going to 3 and then keeping 3 a little bit longer. So it's quite interesting the way the AI drives on this turn, and it gains. Still, it gains. You can see it gains here a lot, almost 1 second in this from the sort of braking zone of turn 3 into the turn 4, which is quite a lot of time. So then I decided, okay, let's take the Mercedes out for a drive. And so on the time trial first, this is the first time when I really started pushing, and then you can see that again I'm losing time in the same spot, and then on the last turn, which is quite interesting, just looking at some of the areas where I was just focusing on my driving and slowly getting there. There's still the last turns and then the turn 3 and 4. So then we can also try to look and see what's happening here. Why did I lose so much time? And you can see that just before the last turn, again braking too early, and then you can see everything else is quite okay, but the AI was all the time faster, having more speed all the way through here. So, and that was the thing I needed to do, is to get faster here, increase my speed for these turns. And this is my last turn, last thing which I managed to do, sort of thing. And here you can see that I'm still losing a little bit time on the turn 3 and 4. But this is the thing, just looking at the areas where you're losing the most time, diving in, seeing what's there. Now I know that next time when I start focusing, it's the turns 3 and 4, and then the last turns, and most likely that way I should be able to beat sort of the level 110 F1 2020 cars. So that's a kind of interesting way, and I did this. This is just junior practices for the career, and also a few time trial runs, so nothing special that I would spend 4 days just driving on this. So this is maybe total of 2 hours maximum driving, and I was able to sort of get very close to the fastest AI on the game, and I know exactly what I need to focus on to be able to beat that 110 level AI. So this is very easy way of getting data, looking into data, trying to understand where you're losing time, and then focusing, you're practicing on that area, and then it's quite easy to quickly gain, quickly sort of shave off the areas where you're losing most time and just getting faster and faster. But this is pretty easy way, and because you don't need to do any time trial or try to get other people's data. You just try one race, and then you just use that data as a reference point, or the AI data as a reference point, and just try to get faster. So this is the way how it works, and I hope you like. And so if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. Bye.